What is going on, Big Ten fans? I hope that your weekend was good this weekend. I'm filming this video on Sunday. This is my fourth video that I've filmed today. I posted 3 today, and then I'm posting this one. This should be coming out Monday, so if you're watching this now and I'm publishing it on Monday, then I'm on schedule. That's a good thing. But we had a great weekend of Big Ten football this weekend. We had big games like Michigan State versus Michigan. Obviously, the big upset there. Michigan State was able to win 27-24. We had Purdue beating Illinois, Indiana beating Rutgers, Wisconsin and Nebraska were canceled due to COVID reasons. Northwestern beat Iowa by 1, and Ohio State beat Penn State in the big blockbuster game at night. Halloween night in Death Valley. That was, Happy Valley, my bad. But that was actually a better game played by Penn State than what I was expecting. I thought Ohio State would come out of this game and not even make it competitive in the first 2 quarters and just run up the scoreboard. Penn State actually played a really good football game and was able to keep it close and competitive, so that was actually a fun game to watch. Now we're going on to this week. This is week 3 of Big Ten football. Can't wait for this one. Lots of good games in this one as well. And this is really a week where we get to see who the good teams are and who the bad teams are and who are the consistent teams, more importantly, because consistency is everything, especially in the short season. You have to be consistent. You can't be good from one week to another because then you're going to end up at 500 or sub 500, which is obviously not what you want. So this is Saturday, November 7th, and coming up in the first game at 12 o'clock, we have Michigan State and Iowa. Michigan State coming off the big win versus Michigan. They went to Michigan, even though there's no fans. It's never easy to go somewhere else. Your whole schedule and everything is different. You're waking up in a different room and everything. When you're at home, you're in a familiar place. You're in a familiar building and everything. So that was a big win for them. Coming to Iowa, Iowa just lost to Northwestern. It was by 1 point, a very close game. But how is Iowa doing this year? I think they're 0-2 if I'm not mistaken. They lost the first game. Yeah, they lost the first game to Purdue, and they just lost to Northwestern. Iowa's not living up to expectation right now. I had them doing pretty well this season. They're obviously not living up to that. So who am I going to take in this game? This is a very close game. I always say never bet against the home team, especially this season. Like, I thought Minnesota over Maryland was a lock. I watched that game. You saw Tulia and Maryland come back and win that game because they were at home and everything like that. No fans, it doesn't matter. It's just, I feel like the home teams are winning so much more than the away teams in these 50-50 games. But Michigan State coming off of the big win against Michigan. Iowa struggling, losing 2 in a row. I really like where Michigan State's at right now. Rocky Lombardi had a great game, so I am going with the Spartans on this one. Next up, we have Nebraska and Northwestern. I think this game is pretty easy right now. Northwestern has been playing some really good football of late. Nebraska obviously didn't play last week because their game was canceled due to COVID against Wisconsin. But, where's my but? But they lost to Ohio State the week before and everything. Northwestern's playing really good football, and they're at home. I don't want to pick against the home team because every time I do that, I feel like I'm always made a fool out of. So I'm going to go with the safe pick here and take the Wildcats. Go Northwestern. Next up at 12 o'clock from Bloomington, Indiana, we have Michigan visiting the Indiana Hoosiers. This is a very interesting game because Michigan just lost to Michigan State. Indiana had beat Rutgers last week and then beat Penn State the week before that. So Indiana's a pretty good football team right now. I can't remember what they're ranked, but they're up there in the top 25. Michigan dropped back to 22, I think it was, or 23, something like that, after losing to Michigan State. This is going to be a very close and competitive game. I'm actually going to go against what I said about the last game here. I said don't pick against the home team unless you're 100% sure. I feel like Michigan's going to come out with something a little extra after that loss, after that disappointing loss. And I feel like during practice, the mood and attitude is going to be way different than what it is for Indiana. Indiana's sitting at 2-0. Obviously, they're going to be a lot happier and a lot more positive in practice than Michigan is going to be, and Michigan's going to push their guys hard in practice this weekend. They're going to be like, guys, we got to figure things out now if we want to fix this season. So I feel like the intensity of practice this week will really help Michigan, and for that reason, I do feel like Michigan will be able to go into Bloomington this week and beat Indiana, so give me the Hoosiers in this one. Next up, we got Minnesota at Illinois. Minnesota losing to it was at Maryland on the Friday night last week. That was a really rough game to lose in. I think it was overtime. They lost in the extra point to tie the game. I watched that game. I actually went to my fridge to go get water because I thought for sure I watched them score what was at the time tying touchdown in my opinion in overtime, and I go to get water and I come back and they miss the extra point for the win and the game's over, and I was like, what on earth just happened? So Minnesota is 0-2 right now. Illinois, I'm pretty sure they won last week. Yeah, no, they didn't. They lost to Purdue last week. So this is a rough game. I do feel like Minnesota's going to get back into it. They're the better football team, in my opinion, in this game. So I am taking the Golden Gophers and hoping that they get back on track to the winning side of their standings or records or whatever. They're going to have to get 3 wins to get on the winning side of that, but they got to get on track to that. Next up, Maryland at Penn State. Both teams coming off of big games. Maryland coming off of a big win, although Penn State is coming off on the other side. They're coming off a big loss to Ohio State. This game's in Penn State. It's at 3:30. I still feel like Penn State is the better football team here, even though Tulia played a much better game than he did in this first game. His first game was terrible. He's able to bring it back, but Penn State at home, again, even though there's no fans, you have to just think about how the game and the process of getting into the game and everything, like the practice beforehand, the travel, all that is going to lead up to this game. So I really like where Penn State's at right now in this game, so give me Penn State. Next up, 3:30, again, Purdue versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin coming off of, I think their only game that they played was against Illinois on the Friday night. They won that game 45-7. Obviously, Graham Mertz is out with COVID, which was a huge blow for them. He only threw 1 incompletion in that first game. Purdue coming off of the win against Illinois last week, and I'm pretty sure they won. They're 2-0. Yeah, they beat Iowa the week before. So these are 2 pretty good teams, 2 undefeated teams looking to stay undefeated in this game. I feel like this game's in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the better football team. I think they're 9th in the AP right now or something like that. Wisconsin is a very good football team. They're a good physical team. I like how Wisconsin's playing, so give me the Badgers. Even though Purdue, I do have this game being close at the beginning. I do feel like Purdue will be able to make it close in the first 2 quarters. Maybe at halftime it's a 7-point or 3-point game, but I do see the Badgers pulling away from this game after in the second half. Next up, we have Rutgers at Ohio State. This is a 7:30 game. Rutgers is playing a lot better than I thought they would this season. It's like Arkansas in the SEC. I thought Arkansas wasn't going to be that good this year. No one thought Arkansas was going to be that good this year, but they're actually playing really competitive games and being a good team. Sam Pittman has done a great job in there. Rutgers is kind of that team, but in the Big Ten. Ohio State, obviously the big win against Penn State, and they beat Nebraska the week before. They are definitely, in my opinion, the second best team in college football right now. The fact that Clemson got put number 1 over Alabama and Ohio State after 2 sloppy performances is brutal in my opinion. I think Ohio State should definitely be number 2. And I just think, especially this game being a night game in Columbus, I don't think that Rutgers stands a chance against such an elite team, such an elite offense and defense. Both sides of the ball. Ohio State is just a fun team to watch, and Justin Fields is such a fun player to watch play. And that receiving core, like Olave, they got Smith Njoku, they got Julian Fleming, a bunch of guys on that team. Just so much fun to watch, so give me Ohio State in this one. And those are my picks for this week's game. I got Michigan State beating Iowa, Northwestern beating Nebraska, Michigan beating Indiana, Minnesota beating Illinois, Penn State beating Maryland, Wisconsin beating Purdue, and Ohio State beating Rutgers. So those are my picks, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Definitely drop a sub down below because I do these picks weekly. I know you definitely don't want to miss out on those, so definitely hit that sub button down below. Hit the like button, comment anything about Big Ten football, and thanks for watching, and come back next time.